Hey, we're back. We've got the All-Star panel with us here. Jane is back from Italy. Bruce is back from Pony Ghost Trail.
Just down the mountain, folks.
Just down the mountain. We're starting to see the town come alive a little bit. We got blues and barbecue this weekend. It's going to be really raucous down here. A lot of folks coming in for this festival. And so it looks like it's going to be phenomenal weather.
Where are they going to hold that?
They hold that down in front of the courthouse.
Oh,
and put a big stage down there, and it goes for 2 days. And I'll tell you what, people come from all over the place because it's getting a reputation of some pretty good jazz and blues players.
Do all the barbecue places have
They
their
participate,
kiosks there?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of sponsorship.
Mics. You got to have mics.
Yeah.
Love mics.
Anyway,
I do too. Mike's is the best.
so Jane, you're fresh back from Italy.
See,
Bill said that the only word he remembered was prego, and prosciutto.
vino.
Vino,
I remember that.
So you had meat and wine. Good.
lot of cheese.
Formaggio.
Any funny stories
Yeah,
going on over there?
There's one funny thing that happened. There's this place that has these falls coming from
Waterfalls.
up there. Yes,
The
they're
Alps.
gorgeous and they're turquoise. And then you get into some things where it's terraced and people sit in these areas here and let the sulfur soak in and all that. So I've heard about it forever. So there we go.
There we go.
4 of us, all 70, 71, 79 and 4 quarters, which almost means. So here we go, and we get there, and every single person, whether they were 70 or 6, were in these G-string swimsuits, these little bitty things, and here we walk in. You have to wear shoes in there. I didn't know that. So they all had their little funny shoes. I had on my gray lace-up things. I had on
REI.
Yeah. And I had on jogging pants about down to here.
That girl.
I mean, and then all of us were, dressed up. I mean, Bill's swim trunks. So we walk in and everyone's floating. You can kind of float in there. And then my shoes would rise to the top. And it'd be these laces and these big kind of hiking shoe things. And we looked like we were ready for the winter snows compared to them. I never saw so much skin in my life. But we stuck out. And we were gawking at people think, oh my gosh. But they were gawking and I said, who are they?
Yeah, right.
Americans.
I know. Look at
the
those
ugly
guys.
Americans are here. Look at the way they're
Oh,
dressed.
we laughed. Normally it'd have been embarrassing, but I'll tell you, those people over there have little swimsuits.
So you guys were the only modest bones in the
oh
place, huh?
yeah.
Now, where are the
Oh,
pictures?
yeah. Oh,
Come
yeah.
on, we need to
I got yeah. I didn't have my phone in the water, but
Ah.
just take my word
I
for
guess
it.
it would have floated.
They
though,
were
huh?
half naked. Yeah.
Well, anyway, as we always say on Friday morning, geez, I don't know if we're going to have anything to talk about today. What's in the news, right? Let's see. Is it the WAPO story about the whistleblower with Trump? Is it the Lewandowski hearing with the Bullfrog Nadler? Is it Ed Buck, that maggot out in L.A., finally being arrested? I'm going to go into that a little bit and tell you who his donor list is.
The egg
You're gonna-
buck.
great.
You're going to love this.
Yeah. I know.
Where do you guys want to start? I'm going to throw it to the floor.
Well, the Kavanaugh thing. I mean,
Okay.
you have
Yeah, that's
not
another
seen
one.
a more blatant, grabbing of straws than, what the Democrats are going through with this. It reminds me of the enthusiasm they had for the Russia collusion story. They go, headline, all this stuff is going on. We have this whistleblower who heard Trump supposedly, allegedly, promise something to a foreign leader on a phone call.
Something to some
Something.
foreign leader.
Yeah.
Where have you heard that before, Ilhan Omar?
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Some people did something to somebody.
Somebody.
Yeah, and it goes back to, remember Obama talking to, Medvedev? He says, well, tell Vlad I can be more flexible in my second administration.
That's a leader talking to another leader, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's sort of like, a
And
lead
that's
on.
collusion.
Yeah, and that was
Really?
fine. No big deal.
No big deal.
You know,
Let me just
passed
ask
without a hiccup.
Let me just ask a broad question to you guys. Is all of this going on, is the potential of all of this going on to try to deflect from the real stuff that's coming down?
Sure.
with the IG report and with the John Durham report?
I
requested
think
by
to a
Bill
degree.
Barr?
I think to a degree, but I think it's also the fact that they are going nowhere in the polls. They got nothing to run on, and I think they're just trying to find issues that's going to like stir up the base.
Well, we've been saying all along they do not have an electable candidate.
No.
They do not have a candidate that legitimately can step up and beat Trump. Biden has fallen like a rock, even though he's still tops in the polls. His popularity has fallen like a rock because you can't remember what his middle name is from day to day.
Kamala Harris is tanking.
She is
Pete
tanking
Buttigieg
bad.
is having
Oh,
issues.
please.
You
The
know.
only three are the big, Biden,
Warren.
Bernie, and Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. She's third, actually, in who can actually beat Trump. That list goes Biden,
but
Sanders, Warren.
I thought that's how they were stacked up in the polls. Too.
Well,
is it?
Well, yeah,
I
that
don't
is
know.
the
It
poll he's
changes
talking
day
about.
to
But I
day.
mean, that poll I think is another one they worry about.
Right.
That no one's believing that poll.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean,
After the election, the presidential election, when Hillary was a landslide to the last 20 minutes.
well,
the
yeah,
way they
yeah.
reported
Whoops,
it.
we
Yeah.
missed that.
Well, let's go
Oh.
back to the Kavanaugh thing and beat that one to a pulp, and then we'll move on. So, the New York Times comes out and they have another bombshell that's fallen flat on their face, and they've got Kavanaugh saying that he would meet with those editors,
Reporters
reporters.
who wrote. Who are these women that wrote this book? And why do you think there's hoopty-da's coming out now? They want to sell books.
Exactly.
It's absurd on the face of it. That another unidentified woman who turns out doesn't even want to talk about it, doesn't even remember it, and somehow they made that the basis of this book.
And once again, they have absolutely
How brain dead can they be?
They've got no shame at all. When I say they, the Democrats have no shame of ruining people's lives. Go back to General Flynn.
The means justify the ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It
just
sucks.
collateral damage to these people.
Yeah.
We got to get to an end, and we don't care who we step on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, I think maybe that the book deal was just a perk because of the plans and the conspiracy to bring this up on Kavanaugh again just to make more problems. And they said, look, if you go ahead and say this, if we write this book, if you say you spent 10 hours trying to remember and poof, you remembered, then look, then you'll have a book and you'll have all this money. I mean, that was kind
But
of
these-
like, that could be kind of like the reward for them coming back up and getting in the
reward
fray.
for
That's
muckraking,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, that's just in
These are
theory.
two no-name New York Times reporters. Reporters.
What about the woman,
that
though?
had their day job reporting, and then they got to go out and make extra money with a salacious book
These
that doesn't
people-
stand the test of
Of
time.
anything.
Well,
Of
yeah,
anything.
Yeah. Anyway.
But it's kind of
Just-
what they
it's just
do.
another attempt to put an asterisk next
Yeah.
to Kavanaugh's name when any vote comes up.
Yeah.
It's an attempt to intimidate him into voting the
Right.
way they want the
Exactly.
vote to come out.
That's the
Yeah, because the diehards believe that he wasn't fully vetted. The Blasey Ford and other women's stories were not vetted by the FBI.
That's Kamala Harris's mantra.
yeah. But
Yeah.
the bottom line is Roe versus Wade. I mean, they want abortion to continue under any circumstances, and they'll jump off the Brooklyn Bridge, keep it going.
Yeah, to make that
Exactly.
happen and protect that. Yeah.
Corey Lewandowski. Corey Lewandowski really, I mean,
I was impressed. Oh, you didn't see it?
no, I did see it.
I didn't see it.
I saw a good bit of it. If nothing else, I saw all the fiery high points. And,
Yeah, that's what you need.
I saw some outtakes with him and Sheila Grant Lee or whatever her name. Sheila
Sheila-
Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, she was
Boy,
embarrassing.
was she.
She, it's,
I love the give and take. She gets done with this whole diatribe, and he
Right.
says, "Will you repeat the question?" I don't think there was a
Yeah.
question. Yes, there was
She
a question.
said, "Will you-"
All I heard was a rant.
yeah. She says, "Will you answer the question?" And he said, What was the question? I
Yeah.
don't think there wasn't a question. And then will you answer the question? He said it was just a rant or
Well,
something.
he thoroughly frustrated the
got her.
Democrats
Yeah,
and made
he
them look
did.
like damn fools in my mind.
Jim Jordan was great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard his little.
No, I
Nadler
didn't.
was so frustrated.
Perfect.
Let me tell you, the guy that was really good was our representative.
Oh yeah,
Doug
Collins.
Hmm.
Woo, he's
Doug
always
Collins
good.
stood up and he just said, he basically said, I moved to terminate the whole hearing, and then he said, then they had
vote?
a voice vote, call for roll, and all they were doing was just chewing time and filibustering. And I mean that,
Yeah.
but again, Corey Lewandowski, but this is his third time in front of some kind of a committee,
Oh,
and,
more
and
than
how many
3.
hours has he put into this thing?
20 hours.
Right.
Of
They're-
actual testifying, not to mention
Yeah.
preparation.
So anyway,
That's what they do. I mean, that's all they're
That's
doing
all
now.
they
They're
do.
just wasting time. They're not doing anything. In any of those constituencies that elected those people, you should really ask for your money back because they're not doing a damn thing.
You know the
Exactly.
old statement, it's the economy, stupid. And it really is the economy. And how can you say, I've heard one of them say, I'm going to make this economy great again. I'm thinking, where have you been under a rock?
Well,
The
to
con-
Bruce's point, they don't have anything to run on.
Right,
You
they
know.
don't, so they have to conjure this stuff up. There are a lot of Democrats that are jumping ship, though. I mean, you don't hear about it unless you go on YouTube and you listen to them
When you
Fox
say jump
doesn't-
and ship, what do you mean?
jumping off the Democratic Party. I mean, they're just fed up. And you hear a lot of that, especially the African American community.
Oh,
They are really pushing for Trump, the ones that I don't see how they say Trump's behind Biden in the basic polls.
let me
I
tell you,
don't
Biden is
believe
the only
that.
shot they've got because
Stage
Biden is
managed
the only
poll.
one that can attract.
Yeah.
I believe that Biden's the only one of that whole group that even Kamala Harris can attract the black vote. Warren hasn't been able to do it.
Warren is so hard.
Sanders hasn't been able to identify with anything in the black community, Bruce.
But when they finally zero down to one, whoever it is, like good Democrats, will they line up behind them? Because Democrats do that
Stick
much better than
together.
Republicans.
Yeah,
Republicans
we do.
tend to splinter and, go with their, favorite neo-libertarian or like arch-conservative. Democrats get in line better than Republicans do.
Well,
So
the Drudge report came out and said that if he was a betting person, that he's Warren is the candidate. Warren will be the Democrat nominee
Oh.
for president.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty
someone
good
said she
invitation.
reminds you of your third grade teacher, and she really
She
does.
does.
Think about it.
That's what I said last week.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
seriously.
I didn't see it.
at the wrong time of the month.
Yeah, I mean, she comes in there with her
Ah.
little sweater,
Jumping
and
around like some kind of kid that has
polio
Had
vaccine,
sugar and-
yeah.
chocolate milk. Now they
Jeez.
don't want you to drink chocolate milk in
That's
California.
another story.
God bless America.
We don't have enough
Here's
time
my
for that.
theory. My theory is, first of all, they put Biden out there, and there he is. He's doing well.
Uncle
Peop-
Joe.
Yeah, Uncle Joe. Oh, jeez, God. And then you see
We
all
start
this.
leaning toward you and sniffing
I know.
hair. You
Ooh,
just
God, you
give
know.
us both a smack.
I will. So they're all for him. The party's for him. Yes, he's good. Donna, who's the
Donna Brazile.
Brazil saying yeah, but she didn't say it, but she sort of said it. So I'm thinking they aren't stupid. So why are they supporting Biden when he's an idiot? He couldn't run the country if he had to. I never mince words. So I'm thinking, why would they do it? Here's one reason they may be doing it. If they think actually he's the only one who can beat Trump. So let's say he wins. He's not going to be able to do it. He's going to have to resign for medical issues. That could be this is a weird thing, but I'm thinking he has to resign so whomever they put as his running mate is actually going to run the country. So just think about that. It's pretty devious, but they're not beyond that.
Yeah, but they're pushing him, because he's the bearer of the Obama legacy. That is like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
best,
yeah.
the best
But-
arrow he has in his
Some
quiver.
of them think
Is that
he's
the
still the
standard
best
bearer or the
candidate.
pallbearer?
Both.
That's funny.
Both. So,
Well, it's going to be interesting.
Did you see the piece that the Trump campaign put together about the the little snippets of all of Biden's gaffes.
Yeah.
Did
yeah.
you see most of them? You know, they came off of a CNN telecast. It's just amazing some of the stuff that he.
Keep the record player on.
That's the most bizarre thing I can.
I mean,
ever
you'd have to
imagine.
go to a little town antique show to find a record player. I mean,
I just threw two of mine out this year.
Oh, you better call him up. He's going to want
And we
one.
sold out of our vinyl records too. That's another story for another day.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But then he said, I'm gonna put 720 million on women to work. Joe, do the
Right.
math. Do the
That is
math.
so funny.
There's only 330 million of us. And even if you do a split, that's only
Yeah, but that includes the aliens now that the Navy is
165 million
talking
women.
about.
that's how many are really here. Another 350
They didn't say
million.
how many aliens, but they're getting to the point where, yes, there are UFOs. Here they are. We're admitting it. And then it's going to go way down
He
a
wants to
rabbit
play
hole.
catch up with China, so badly. We need more people. Well, let's just throw some numbers out there.
What is Elizabeth Warren going to do to defend some of the economic results of her proposed policies? I mean, Trump will just eat her lunch.
Eat her lunch.
Well, even before she gets to Trump, I mean, why aren't any of these astute news people pressing her on this?
That's
and when she dances on it,
the
drill her again.
Well,
I mean,
That's
Tell
the
you
rub.
what,
Elizabeth, you got to have some numbers here. You can't just talk out of your ear.
Well, I don't know if you saw the clips of her appearing on the Colbert.
Yeah, he really shot. Answered
she didn't
some
answer.
questions. Well, she doesn't have
He
any.
methodically went there though and made
did.
her, and she couldn't answer the question as to how she's going to pay
Yeah.
for it, and will the middle class
Yeah.
have increases?
In their taxes, yeah.
He said,
Yeah.
so the middle class is going to get free meds? And she said, yes. And he said, but their taxes are going to go way up. In other words, they're going to pay for it. And then she starts blubbering around.
Well,
I mean,
she did the double take, and
Yeah.
the typical thing is, no, wait, now here's the real story. She just totally
Yeah, like,
bifurcates.
Yeah.
Here's who's going to benefit,
Yeah.
and then she goes into like a part of it that has nothing to do with the question.
Right.
But every time she's on stage, she always gets out something about large corporations. Well, excuse
Yep.
me. I mean,
She
large
worked for
corporations employ a lot of people. They pay a lot of taxes. The people that work for them pay a lot of taxes. If you go breaking up large corporations,
We're
what's
done.
this country
Hell,
going
what
to
are
look
we-
like?
That is classic trickle-down economics.
I
and
mean-
I believe in trickle-down. Do you?
Yes.
Well, we can't.
Yeah, large corporations, whether they be banks, oil companies, pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies,
Costco,
auto
Walmart,
companies.
all those.
What is going to replace large corporations? Bernie's done the same
Famine
thing.
and depression.
Yeah,
That's
Civil War.
Yeah, that's what'll replace.
There's a statistic that came out yesterday on the Rush Limbaugh show that said that if Bernie was able to implement Medicare for all, there's not enough. He will send the entire world, not the country, the world into not a recession, a depression. Because there's absolutely no way to pay for any of the stuff that he is proposing. And what's so sad is that the mainstream media does not take and do normal vetting on a Democrat like they do on the Republicans and bring this stuff to light. Let people know what this is going to cost them, what it's going to do to the economy, what is it going to do to education. Free education for all. Who's paying for that stuff?
Don't forget, we're paying for all that stuff with printed money.
3 minutes,
Oh,
I guess,
3 minutes.
to a break.
Oh.
okay. Okay. I guess we're getting a high
So,
sign.
so we are
Yeah, from Destiny.
paying. We're paying with printed money. I mean, we're not. The money's worthless. You might as well, basically, and unless we get back on the gold standard, and
Not
people are
happening.
saying Trump's going to take down the Fed. I mean, they've killed a lot of people that try to take down the Fed, literally. And so, but I heard, I think it was China that printed another something $1 trillion. Just let's get the presses. We do the same thing.
Yeah, they're in deeper doo-doo than us.
They are.
though,
They
so-
are. In real, and Joe said, "Oh, well, yeah, but they are. But they're stealing our stuff." Someone said, "If they're so smart, why are they stealing all our technology?"
And,
What's the-
I don't know, but one of the top economic guys said that if Elizabeth Warren gets elected, the stock market won't even open. Think about that, folks.
Afraid of the free fall, huh?
Yeah,
Talk about a civil war.
it'll be brutal.
Yeah. About 6 months after they get in, we're going to have bloodshed. I'm telling you, it will be bad.
You know, we probably ought to take a little break here for the cause, but when we come back, you know, the elephant in the room is still Iran right now. I mean, I think that situation is looming larger than a lot of people give it credit. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah.
But there's something going on with the Saudis. It's not just.
And the Houthis,
The what?
the Houthis,
Yeah.
the rebels.
Yemen, the Straits of Hormuz, 5% of the oil supply, you know,
The Iraqis,
going bye-bye.
the
The
Israelis.
Iraqis.
Yeah.
And we can talk about Netanyahu trying to hold.
Yeah, that's a
he's
mess.
clinging to false hope. So, why don't we, Lonnie? Should we take a break here? Is this a good time? Let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to touch on some of the Iran things. We're going to get to Ed Buck and the cesspool out in West Hollywood. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to tell you who he supports. So, anyway. Destiny's with us this morning. She's on the helm, and Lonnie's giving her guidance over there. So, Destiny, how about taking us to break?
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Elijah next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Elijah next to Walmart.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Elijah, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
usual, folks, we are back.
Thank God we're
You
back.
know, the outtakes would be precious because we were. What you missed was we were doing a full throttle version of Kokomo by the Beach Boys. I don't know where that came up from, but you heard it
Came
here
up from
first.
Lonnie. That's where it came up
Yeah,
from.
I know, right?
He sang the other song first.
I don't want to go there. It was a takeoff on Barbara Ann, I might add.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let's see where we go. You know what? I got
Breaking news.
I got to acknowledge Brian this week because he had a really funny segment at the beginning of his show. And as many of you know from Brian's broadcast, the Governor Kemp has put out an APB, an all points bulletin, saying that if you submit your resume, you too can apply for the senatorship in the state of Georgia. So Brian
Because
and
Johnny Isaacson is retired.
Johnny Isaacson's retiring, yeah. So, in Brian, in his infinite wisdom, put in his resume to become the next senator to replace Johnny Isaacson. However, in the vetting process, it was noted that as a third grader, Brian went trick-or-treating and dressed up in blackface like
Buckwheat.
buckwheat. So,
From
in
the
all
R gang
fairness-
series.
In all fairness, he felt like because in honor of Trudeau,
Yeah.
in honor of government and all of them, he felt that he should take his resume back and not become a potential candidate for senator. However, breaking news, we want to let you know, we want to first to be cutting edge here. Our own District 6 representative, and his name is
Doug Collins,
Doug Collins,
District 7.
has submitted his resume
Just fill in the
to
blank.
become the next senator from the state of Georgia. So good luck to our 6th district. We will miss you if you are appointed, but we know you will do a phenomenal job in the Senate, and good luck to you, Representative Collins. So,
Is he 6 or 7? Lonnie, do you know? District 6 or 7?
I
Anyway,
think
our
we'll get back
district.
to you.
one of the two, but I got a 50-50 shot at this one, right?
There you go.
He's our district.
Before we went away to break, we talked about the elephant in the room, Iran, and what the implications are. Will the president take retaliation? I know the neocons like Bolton are saying, go get him, let's get into another fight. In my mind, we don't need another war.
No.
Bruce?
I don't think we need a war, but I think some sort of response is going to happen. But you know, the suave way to do it would be to do it through the Saudis. You know, they're the ones whose country got bombed and attacked and all that. So they have a lot of U.S. military hardware. So do something through the Saudis, and I think that's the way to go.
We've all seen some of the drone pieces that they've collected.
Yeah.
You know, you see the pictures of that, and apparently they are tracing it back to.
Yeah, I mean, there's all
Iran.
kinds of stamped numbers on those things, so they know where they came from. I think
The question is, they know that they were Iran-based, but was Iran responsible for that attack, or did someone else do it on their behalf?
Some
I
say
think
it
they
was a
have-
false flag.
I think they have the satellite
around.
imagery and everything that they got launched from the north, you know, from Iran. I think they know where they came from. So, ninth
The
district.
9th district. Sorry,
Okay.
I said 6th.
What district
We
are
said
we?
7th. He's going to be the 9th district guy. Okay, thanks
Doug-
for that update, Lonnie.
Yeah.
He represents the 9th district.
Yeah. Which is right here.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Okay.
sorry I misspoke.
Brian's going to have our.
I know. I'm going to get fired.
Sorry, Brian.
Anyway,
So there's satellite imagery that can pretty much pinpoint it. The question is then, does the Saudis do something across the border, and that remains to be seen.
I mean, the Saudis are so vulnerable with all of their refineries and everything like that. It's just.
Well, it was a wake-up call because they said drone attacks like this are a relatively new thing in war. So the technology to track drones is growing. So it's
Okay.
not real perfect as it is now. So even the best technology, it's hard to detect drones.
Those things are pretty good size.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, you could see by the hardware that was.
well, and they said some of them are not a drone; they're like actually a cruise missile. So
Yeah.
you got that going on. So I think this will be a wake-up call for the Saudis to, increase the protection around their oil processing facilities.
So y'all are talking all above ground?
Yes.
Down in the wormholes, deep down there are other rumblings going on and possibilities.
All right, let's hear
And
it.
that is that
We always bring you every side of the story, whether
Yeah,
it's
then-
the rabbit hole or whether
I
it's
know,
up in
and
the
y'all
air.
can go do your own research. That's what's fun about it all.
False flag, is that where you're
Well,
going?
here we just were talking about the Dems are pulling up things on Kavanaugh and all this stuff. If there's a war, that's going to really hurt Trump.
Yes.
And
If
so
there's a recession, it's going to
it's going to hurt Trump. And so both of those things can happen. And a war, they want a war. Of course, the cabal, the deep state, has always gotten very wealthy on war, from the First
Oh.
World War to all the way through.
How many times have we said that on the
When
panel?
they run out of money, let's start a war. We replenish our tills. What is it? So a lot of people think whomever, it was a contrived situation, not just. It was for the election to get us in a war, and Trump knows that. I have no doubt that he knows that. But you can't talk with the source again, the guy that starts with the Q, because his channels, the channels down that he would communicate on. So he can't communicate.
But I thought he was using a back channel.
Well,
He or
8chan
she
was
or
the
it or
back.
they.
You mean 4chan came first, then 8chan, and then 8chan's down. Have they done a
Oh, I don't know.
12chan?
I don't know.
8chan's down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I need to Google that.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Anyway.
there's a lot of moving pieces there. Of course, you just had
There's a lot of
the
moving
Israeli
pieces.
election, which is basically a draw. So either Netanyahu and Gantz have to form a coalition, and depends who wants to be, the PM.
Well,
Who's Gans? Is he a liberal, or how is he different? I don't know his philosophy or his stance as opposed to Netanyahu. What is he?
Yeah, he's more liberal. Yeah, he's
And that means
but
he
I mean
wants
not
to give-
radically liberal, but
He
more
wants
liberal.
to give more to Palestine. Is that what he wants to do?
I think they
I don't
want to have a
know.
more measured approach with the Palestinians, and be more susceptible to outside influences,
Yeah.
from the UN and folks like that.
Oh,
Correct
Lord.
me if I'm wrong. That now they've declared the election basically a dead heat. So they got
Yeah.
two choices. They can either go back and have another election, or the president decides which one will be the prime minister.
Yep.
No, no.
I thought it said that last night. No, tell us.
The two part Netanyahu and Gantz, who's the other guy.
Those are the two that are deadlocked.
Yeah. Their two parties have to form a coalition.
They have to?
Well, they have to try to, okay? And if they can't agree who's going to be prime minister, and they probably won't, then there will be another election.
Oh, well, I heard
Well, I
that.
heard that the president picks
Right.
one
It-
of the two.
it definitely
no,
said that.
the president controls some of the other smaller parties. And, they're talking about if you can't, call, I think Gantz is the blue and white party, and Netanyahu is the Likud. And if they can't come together, then there's all these other little parties you could pick up and, make a coalition.
Okay.
And some of them would include the Arab Party, and nobody wants to do a coalition with the Arab Party because they have become more and more anti-Israel.
Anti-Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while that's going on, there's also the development in Iraq where the Chinese have come in and started investing a bunch of money in rehabilitating their oil fields. So the Chinese are getting a hook in Iraq, because they want the oil output. So you got them there. You have Iran. You have Putin, of course, in the background working with Iran. Yeah, it's a tinderbox.
It always has been.
Yeah, well, it flares. It settles down and everything's calm for a while, then it boof. So,
Well, I mean, if there's any good news, the good news is that we've become energy efficient, energy
more energy independent.
energy independent.
Not
That's-
completely,
yeah,
though.
Yeah.
I thought we were.
No, we have to
Basically
import. We have to
independent.
import some offshore crude just because our refineries have been set up to handle that kind of crude. So a lot of the product that's coming out of fracking and all that can only be handled in certain refineries.
Oh.
The oil companies have been reluctant to change over the processing capability of U.S. refineries to handle all this stuff. So we still need to import sour crude from a lot of these places because our refineries are Some of our
Incapable.
refineries are geared to
But
that.
that's not defined by the natural resources that we have. It's defined by the
We can
business
fix that.
community. Yeah, that's changeable.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
yes, the processing part of the barrel. I mean, to be able to process a barrel of oil into gas and things like that, that's the refinery, and that's driven by regulations and, of course, tax law. Who's going to spend $3 billion or more to change their refinery if they're not going to be assured of getting it back? Just
got
doesn't
you.
happen.
Yeah. Well, we covered Iran pretty well, don't you think?
Yeah, you want to talk about Ed Buck.
Ed Buck. Let me tell you, I've been following this whole thing pretty closely. Ed Buck is a guy who lives in West Hollywood, no visible means of support. He's had one traceable job, I believe, and he sold that company. He lives in a modest apartment. His claim to fame, though, is he's taking young black men, gay men, that are in distress, and he promises them that he will help them. He brings them to his apartment, and it's literally become a death knell for anybody that goes there. So it's just amazing to me that it's taken this long to arrest that maggot. And he is just despicable.
But again, the background is his claim to fame is he's a big donor bundler for the Democratic
He
Party.
started out in Arizona he was a model in Europe, a male model in Europe, came back, got very active in politics in the Arizona area, in Phoenix, was very instrumental in the impeachment of Meacham, I think was the guy's name in Arizona that was the governor. He was corrupt. Anyway, then he moved to West Hollywood, and he's kind of a fixture in that area. And if you know West Hollywood, there's some seedy pockets in there. And let's see, it was in 2017, Jamel Moore, 26 years old, found dead in Ed Buck's apartment. That following January, Tim Dean found dead. Now they have a Joe Doe who went to his apartment, was injected with methamphetamines,
Yeah.
and escaped, reported him, and then went back, and apparently is going to be okay. But he's been arrested on federal charges, and he is a mega donor to the Democrats. And I want to list, you're going to love these names. Here is his donor list. Representative Ted Lieu, Representative Adam Schiff, Representative Pete Aguilar, Representative Jerry McNerney, and Representative Jimmy Gomez. His larger gifts included Kristen Sinema, the Arizona senator, as well as the DNC in 2015, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Hussein Obama. So, really, if this guy gets off, it's going to be another
Travis.
travesty like, what's his name? Weinstein. Who's the other guy that was just died in prison?
Epstein.
Yeah, Epstein.
Some say
but
he's not dead.
Anyway, so we're getting a signal here. What do you want me to do? Is that Destiny? You got 1 minute? Okay, we want to do 1 minute, so we got to go winners and losers. Winners and
fast.
losers are coming up. So
You want to start?
No.
you think about it, Bruce. You go.
Okay, I got
Bruce has always got
my
You
winner.
know, he thinks about
Winner
it.
of the week, my home run is. You may have heard of Hillsdale College in Michigan.
Yeah.
They're a conservative place and very conservative, and just in terms of campuses having all this politically correct language and safe zones and all this, they basically address this saying speech code at Hillsdale College. It's very simple. And it says, you may assert and defend any argument you conceive as long as you do so in a way that is civil, academic, and conducive to thought and deliberation. So I really congratulate them for having something that most people can understand and live with. My airball is our former president, Barack Hussein Obama, and his wife, Michelle, have joined up with Netflix. This is how they're vaulted into the multi-million-dollar category of folks in the U.S. They just did a movie called American Factory, and it talks about a General Motors factory in Ohio that was closed and has now been reopened by a Chinese company that makes automobile glass. What is not talked about in the documentary, and it's out in the movie theaters, that the president's bailout of General Motors favored United Auto Workers. Unfortunately, this plant was not a United Auto Worker plant. They got closed. So now Obama's making this movie about American business and foreign investment and I'm the hero here, but makes no mention of the fact that his decision on GM essentially forced his plant to close. Pretty bad.
Excellent. We could go on and on about the GM thing and how the stockholders, especially the preferred stockholders, really got screwed.
The bondholders. Yeah.
I don't know about winners and losers, but on this point, if you want something else to go investigate, if you had some spare time, you look at all the book deals. Hillary's was huge on several occasions. Obama's was huge. Now the Netflix things. And someone brought up, how do you launder money? You launder money. I mean, people know that. No, people don't know. It's said that the CIA is involved in bringing Iraq, right? The poppy fields and all that money and cocaine and everything from Mexico. They're all involved in that, and they got this plethora of money. And they launder it through book deals for these people, Netflix deals for these people. And so if I were a journalist, I'd be doing some interviews.
Obama is doing that with the money that Iran got, the $150 billion. He's going on a tour of Europe and places to give speeches. $750,000 to $900,000. All that money is coming back that way.
That's laundering money.
Yeah,
exactly. My winner of the week is going to be Corey Lewandowski. I thought he did a magnificent job. The president did as well. So, and I'm on that bandwagon. My loser of the week is Beto O'Rourke. He is doubling down on coming to get your guns, folks. He's going to be banging on your door. Instead of him campaigning, why doesn't he go to Chicago and figure out how 9 people were killed and 18 people injured with gunfire in the city of Chicago? That guy, Beto, is an absolute loser, and he really, really needs to drop out because he is not doing the Democrats any favors.
What he's not going to find is those people had registered guns. They're all illegal, and no matter what happens, they're going to have those illegal.
De Blasio dropped out this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's out. I mean, he didn't have a snowball chance of hell. So
I heard that someone dropped out, but I didn't know who it was.
Yep, he can go back and take care of New York now.
Yeah, 20 hours a week. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to have Jesse Barton, our valued Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall in Ellijay, Georgia. So thank you, All-Star Panel.
Yep.
Great discussion this morning. We're going to take a break, so take us out of here, Destiny.